Oh, this is an update on Polkadot, which I have not updated in a while, but it too has been caught in quite a maelstrom, quite a tailspin, along with the rest of the crypto space, as well as equities and pretty much every other asset class you can think of. There's been a lot of whipsaw. We've had nearly a 10, 11% crash today after a really promising rally yesterday. And the same thing happened in the equity space. When we look at stocks, we had a very promising possible third waves, three waves up, but not quite. Right before we got to our ideal target, we fell through the floor. So this is important because we're seeing the same kinds of patterns in the crypto space. Polkadot is one of those cryptos that has basically all but invalidated its support down here. The support that I have with a thick red line is based on wherever our low was for this year. So for most coins, it was on February 24th, but for a couple of coins, it was actually on January 24th. So either of those could be our support zone. And well, when we look at this closely, look at that. We basically touched it. We kissed it and came back up. But it doesn't look like we're done yet, honestly. It looks like a very corrective bounce so far. So we may have some more follow through. This doesn't look like an impulsive correction. So I'm going to zoom back out here just to look at the recent history. We had what looked like three waves up, looking for a fifth wave to finish a leading diagonal potentially, but we've taken a turn for, well, a good bit lower. And it looks like we have an impulsive first wave down, and Polkadot is one of those few cryptos that actually had a pretty legit looking second wave bounce. If we take either of these two bottoms as the first wave, the second wave did actually retrace a little beyond 38.2%. So textbook standard second wave retrace. And with this 1-2 setup, we are almost certainly in the middle of our third wave. We actually broke through the pivot, broke back up through the pivot. That's the 0.618 to 0.764 extension. That's a key resistance zone. Once you get through it, you should not go back above the 0.618 extension. That would more or less confirm that we're in a third wave down. And if that does follow through, if we do follow through with this third wave, expect this thing to get down to $10 or lower just for the third wave, with an ultimate bottom around somewhere between $7 and $8, maybe $9, something like that. Does that align with our big picture chart? It kind of does, really. If you recall, I was looking at this as possibly a nested 1-2-1-2 setup, but now that we are angling for a bit lower, things are changing relatively quickly. So here we had a very good MACD divergence, and Polkadot's actually become a little bit more stretched down than a lot of the other cryptos. And maybe the incredible rallying earlier in the past year is just being made up for now. You know, the higher you go, the harder you fall. But I've put some new Fibonacci extensions on here just to help us identify the pattern, because most of the cryptos are following the same sentiment. This is best identified as a B wave, and we're presumably completing the C wave down. So once again, that would be our official top, April 2021, A, B, C. We've presumably had a fourth wave bounce, and we have a fifth wave finish to flush us downwards. I mentioned $7, $8, $9 would be the ideal target on the linear chart. It does project a little bit differently on this logarithmic chart in that we have our extension. So I put this here. So based on this A wave, B wave bounce, the 1-to-1 would put us at about 1150. Ideally, we could, well, that would be the ideal retrace point. However, because it's an expanded flat, wouldn't be surprised if we get to $10 or a little bit lower. You often see the C wave going a little bit lower than the origin point of the B wave. So this purple blue box is about as low as I'd expect us to go. There's a couple of confluences there. So expect us to possibly get down there. I would at least expect us to break below the 1046 low that we set in July of 2021 before we're ready to turn around. And then what's next? Is the bull market dead? Far from what I think. This is actually what it looks like towards the bottom. We're trying to exhaust our bearish sentiment. I know there's a lot of panic from a lot of my viewers on how well, that we're in a bear market, we can't possibly rally. That's exactly what happens at the bottom of the bear market. Your emotions get the best of you. Remember that we are much closer to a bottom than we are to a top. I put a community post out today showing that we have some, well, I was looking at Riot and Mara, which are ETFs. They're stocks for Bitcoin, blockchain mining, holding companies. And when you look at this thing, these are giving us very strong signs of a bottom nearing. We have an MACD divergence here, and we've had textbook standard fourth wave corrections, a little bit deeper on Riot than I'd like, but we've got the ABC shape, and there is a ton of headroom up above. When we look at Marathon, same kind of thing, Marathon Digital Holdings. This actually has almost fit everything textbook perfect. We hit the 1.32 extension for a third wave in the spring of 2021. nice expanded flat, very lengthy, grindy looking fourth wave, which is exactly what a textbook standard fourth wave would do. And we're nearing a bottom, very clear MACD divergence. So maybe have a little lower to go, maybe down to $11 from where we are right now, and expect a full impulse. Could see 10x on either of these. So that's right, 10x on those. The potential for something like a Polkadot could be exponential. So we're sitting again at about 14.45, could get down the $10 range, maybe lower. We still have our upside targets up high. All we're going to do if we do go lower is we're going to reset this whole thing. And well, we're going to have some more robust Fibonacci targets. I know some of these are now outdated because we've had our lower lows and everything, but we're not going to move these down too much lower. So imagine us getting anywhere from, well, possibly $100 over that. We could see $50, $60 just for the first wave alone once we start our final rally. So that is Polkadot. We are, again, very close to invalidating our upside setup. So I expect most of the cryptos to follow through. As I've mentioned before, Chainlink, believe it was Chainlink, Shiba Inu, and Polygon. Those are the three coins that have broken their supports, invalidating their immediate upside setup. But once again, get your buying plans ready. It's the time to start thinking about making your buys, because when this thing spikes down, it's going to be relatively short-lived. That's how, well, that's just how cryptos are. That's how everything is, really. Bear markets are, especially colossal crashes, they happen quick. You see a big red candle and it's gone before you know it. So I'm going to be bringing plenty more updates. Subscribe so that you don't miss those. Till next time, thank you for watching and happy trading.